So it's time for another episode of Love, Marriage, and Fantasy. This episode is brought to you by Ava Lauren Public Relations, everything sales and marketing. You can find Ava on Facebook and Instagram at Ava Lauren Public Relations. You can also search her through her hashtag ALPR.
All right, on today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about doing what it takes to stir up the sexual intimacy and some of those sexual activities that make you feel good. We're also going to be discussing talking to your children about your relationship status, keeping your emotions under control during challenging conversations, and those external threats to your love language.
So, Star, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling good.
That's good. You want to go ahead and lead into the rest of our introduction?
All right, everybody. As he said, it is time for another episode of the Love, Marriage, and Fantasy podcast. I am Star Claiborne.
And I am Anton Leonard Claiborne, and we are your global relationship strategists.
We live our marriage on the guided principle of no one or no thing.
So take some time, listen as we make sense of it all. The weekend. It was interesting, right?
It was relaxing.
It was very relaxing. That's what made it
interesting because we don't do that very often.
We don't. But we're trying to set an example for all the other couples out there by taking time out to just do nothing. Just do nothing. Or if we do something, it's not involving work. It doesn't involve any of our social media productions. As a matter of fact, we try to stay off of social media whenever we have our down period.
Absolutely. Millennials, I'm going to say it and shout it out to y'all right now. We do not. I am somewhat in the mix of a millennial.
You are a millennial.
I guess you could say that.
Yes.
Either way, we do not have to always be busy. We
do
not have to always be busy. I know sometimes we have to go. That's what we're used to, but I promise if you just take a moment, you will find some happiness with children.
Put the phone down. You can put it down. Just put the phone down for about 3 hours. It'll make a big difference in your life.
So we did. We did some relaxing this weekend.
Yes,
Watched
we did.
Some movies at home. Just
spend time with the children. And so we did our family thing. Now, if you want to know more about what we do and how we do it, you can check us out on our website. What's our website, Star?
ClaiborneCoaching.com.
ClaiborneCoaching.com.
Check it
out. All right, so let's move on. Let's get into this discussion. What are we talking about, Star?
Today, we are talking about uncomfortable conversations.
Ooh.
Uncomfortable conversations. So, why do we need to have those uncomfortable conversations? That's what we're going to talk about today. Mm-hmm. It's something that we run from. And then, we need to know what those conversations are, but more importantly, why do we want to have those conversations? Why do we want to have those conversations, Mr. Claiborne?
Well, one reason is to create better sexual intimacy. Mm-hmm. And that is something that a lot of couples don't like to talk about. However, it's necessary to discuss it, especially if you're in one of those relationships where your sexual interests don't match. Like, one of you may be very assertive when it comes to expressing your sexuality, but you might have a partner who's a bit more reserved, and they're just not willing to initiate when they are in the mood. And that right there could cause some huge problems and definitely create uncomfortable conversations. But that's one of those conversations that you just absolutely need to have.
That's what were we saying? Yeah, you definitely want to talk about that. Like you said, when you have those couples that, you both may be aggressive, but at the same time, like you said, you may have one that's more reserved, a little less aggressive, and then we hear a lot about the whole exchange of the man should always initiate.
Yes.
So we have these ideas sometimes as women that that's what's supposed to happen instead of just being real with ourselves and saying, you know what, it's not really that serious. Like if I want this, I'm gonna go get this.
And ladies, your stress levels would decrease tremendously if you would just initiate sex when you really feel the mood.
Just do it. Just make it happen.
There's a popular quote circulating on social media that says, "Fuck stress, have sex," and I think a lot of people should take that on. They should take on that mindset.
It works.
Because sex definitely reduces your stress levels.
All right.
It's also good for menstrual cramps. Just something to think about,
ladies.
Ladies, it's something to think about. An orgasm is very good for menstrual pain.
All right.
Well, you know what, Star? Let me just go ahead and approach our other topic, so that way, we can just go ahead and get the, the uncomfortable feeling of talking about sex out on the table. Y'all listen to me for a moment, okay? Just let me have your undivided attention on this, because I know just by hearing me mention menstruation and sex in the same sentence, some of you probably became uncomfortable. And I think that needs to be addressed. There is, and now I'm about to put on my sexual intimacy advisor hat, take off my marriage facilitator hat, and put on my sexual intimacy advisor hat and talk to y'all for a while. Listen, there is nothing about sex that should make you feel uncomfortable. Sex is a natural thing that every human being has the right to explore in their own way. I say that because you all have got to stop letting other people tell you how to exercise your sexuality. If you are one of those people who loves to masturbate, then do that because it's something you love to do. It makes you feel good. And if you find something that makes you feel good, then you should continue to do that because it works for you. We've got to get away from listening to what other people say regarding what works for us. We know ourselves better than anyone else. So if masturbating in the morning before you start your day is something that you know works for you, it helps you to get your day started before you get out and drink that cup of coffee or before you go do your morning workout. If you know that that moment of pleasure, that moment of pleasuring yourself helps get your day started, then you should do that without having any concerns about what anyone else might think about what you're doing. If you're one of those people who is into anal sex, then that's something that you should do because you know it's something that makes you feel good. And that goes for anything else that some people might say is a sexual taboo. My whole point in this is to get you to understand and accept that you are responsible for your well-being. You are responsible for your happiness. So you and your mate should take on that responsibility and do what makes you happy. Do what makes you feel good sexually. If you like, if you and your partner are exhibitionists, meaning y'all like to have sex in public places, or you like to let other people watch, then do that. But do it knowing that this is something that both of you like to do and it helps raise your sexual energy to higher levels, higher heights. And that right there is what's really important for you to understand. You need to understand your sexual energy. What is that? Understand what it is that turns you on sexually. Then once you get that knowledge, you use that every day of your life. Y'all, I promise you, once you learn those things that turn you on sexually, those things that stimulate you sexually, the things that make you want to think about sex, the things that make you want to have sex, those are things that stimulate you sexually. Once you learn those things, your interactions with your partner, your mate, husband or wife, and with other people will improve greatly. In regards to interacting with other people, if you know what turns you on sexually, when it's time for you to conduct business with someone, you would look for those people who you find sexually attractive and they can help you with your business. So that's the person that you would want to approach because you will have a completely different exchange with someone you find sexually attractive compared to the exchange with someone you do not find sexually attractive, yet you're trying to conduct business with them. So, okay, I think I've said enough on that. But I just had to get that, go ahead and address that topic since we were going to address it anyway. I just wanted to go ahead and say those things so that our listeners can understand when it comes to these uncomfortable conversations, you should not feel uncomfortable talking about sex at all. There should be nothing about your sexuality that you feel you cannot talk to your spouse about.
Alright, so one of those reasons for having uncomfortable conversations is definitely for a better sexual intimacy, and having that fun time with your mates and your spouse and,
right.
Just doing what you want to do when you're ready to do it.
Right? Absolutely.
All
right, Star. It's time for another social media break.
This is where we take some time, scroll through our social media, and figure out what are they saying about relationships and situationships. You ready, Mr. Claiborne?
I'm ready. I'm starting the timer now.
All right. Let's see what we got today.
Twitter.
I found this interesting.
Okay, what you got?
Girls get friend zoned too. Only difference is the guy will still sleep with you.
Yeah, because Usually when a girl puts a guy in friend zone, she's not sleeping with him. Yeah. Okay, here's one on Twitter. I'm not toxic. I don't cheat, and I don't mess with people in relationships. Everything y'all like or into in this generation, I'm not with. So please leave me alone with your toxic mess. Yeah, I can feel that. That's the type of attitude somebody will have after they've been burned.
Let's see. There's another one here. It says, nobody is busier than a person that's not interested in you.
True.
I have to say to that, somebody's interested in you, they're going to find time to be with you. They're going to find time to spend with you. And, I think we need to not keep looking, chasing for them. Stop chasing them. If they're busy, give them a chance to come back around and see what they say. See once you become busy. But stop chasing it.
True. But, if it's good, people are going to chase it.
That is true. Yeah, it's true. Lust expires. Lust expires.
Lust does expire.
See, that's
That's
part of
right.
that chasing. You chasing the
Right,
lust.
right.
Stop chasing the lust.
Gotta have more of a reason to chase it. Okay. She said, you should be sad because you lost me, and I'll be here living my best life while you try to drown your sorrow in money, girls, and cars because I gave you a chance and you blew it. Well, fellas, can't get no clearer than that. You mess that opportunity up, she will cut you loose.
Let's see. Your ex will have a whole new relationship and still be mad at you for doing you.
Ooh,
Why?
right.
Why?
Okay. Important reminders for 2020. Stop apologizing for having feelings. Remove toxic people in relationships. It's okay to say no. Put yourself first and make your mental health a priority.
Yeah, you always gotta think about yourself first.
That's right. Your happiness is more important than anybody else's. All right. That's the timer, y'all. That's the end of this social media break for this episode. We hope you got something from this. Let's get back into the discussion. Talking about the family. You may find yourself in an uncomfortable conversation when talking about how to raise the children. Everybody doesn't have the same education or knowledge regarding how to raise a child, especially considering that we come from so many different backgrounds.
Yeah.
You know, when you consider many people have come from broken families, that broken family affects the way you will raise your own children.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Raising family is a key piece of it because not just the uncomfortable conversation about how to raise the kids, but making sure that the kids understand where they are connected in the relationship.
Right.
Because the relationship is not just you and your husband. It's not just you and your wife. It is the kids. They are that relationship, and without those kids being a part of that, that can cause a broken relationship. It can cause a failed marriage. So I think really helping the kids understand where they lie in that and bringing them into that communication is extremely important. And helping them to understand when difficult things arise. One of the things we talk about, especially in our coaching, is the phases of marriage.
Yes.
So bringing them into that conversation about those different phases when there may be illnesses or financial distress. I know a lot of times we try to hide that financial distress from our families, but let me tell you something. You can't hide it from your kids.
No, you cannot.
You can't hide it from your kids.
So
and don't try because they feel it. They're going to feel it one way or the other, whether it's you're not being able to get them the things that they want or they're feeling the stress the energy that you're putting out on a day-to-day basis. So, having that uncomfortable conversation to help raise the family, about how you're going to raise them so you're not on a different page with the discipline. You're not on a different page of where you're trying to go, but also making sure you're having that conversation of bringing them in and letting them know where they stand and if something were to happen. It's all about the what if. Don't be afraid to have those what if conversations.
Right. And you made a really good point. I just want to expound on it just a little bit more. Even though your children may feel as though they are uncomfortable with sitting there listening to you talk about your financial issues or issues within the household, you need to find a way to make them want to listen.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying force them to listen. Be creative and find a way to help them to be interested in what's going on with the household. That's something that you want to do because you don't want them to ever feel like they can't come and talk to you when they have an uncomfortable conversation that they want to have. You want them to feel as though they can come to you and talk to you about anything.
Yeah, yeah. And again, let's jump into the next one when we're talking about having that uncomfortable conversation and trying to hide it. Having these uncomfortable conversations can help with controlling the emotions.
Oh, absolutely.
when you have challenging situations that come up in the relationship, the uncomfortable conversations, the what if conversations, getting out there and meeting other people that may have had these challenges that you think may arise. We don't want to think about it, but the true reality of it is nothing is perfect, right? Nothing is perfect. But what you do know is that no one or no thing should be able to come between whatever is happening in between you and your mate. So that controlling your emotions is going to be a very key piece in that when you're having a struggle.
Right. Controlling your emotions will help you to deal with those. It will help you to address those external threats that may arise in your marriage. And I was asked not long ago, what do we mean by external threats to the marriage? And a couple of them could come from. I mean, one of them could come from your place of employment. For example, you might be asked to travel out of state for a number of weeks. Well, that could affect the connection you have with your mate, especially if they are accustomed to you being home every night.
Right.
And that could lead to them feeling emotionally unstable because they don't know how to deal with you not being there.
Right.
Every night, that is. So you would need to talk about those type of things. It could become a threat if you don't talk about it. Another example could be your friends, your associates that you go out with and have fun with. You may not feel as though being with your single friends is a threat, but it could lead to you making a decision to do something that you shouldn't do as a married person.
Right.
It may cause you to do something to misrepresent your marriage. So you want to be careful in monitoring how these external things will affect your marriage. You don't want anything to become a threat to your marriage. And I think that's something a lot of people will feel uncomfortable talking about. Any threats to a marriage, they sometimes don't want to discuss it because they feel like everything is okay.
Feel like we're immune to it.
Immune to it,
we're
right?
Not immune to the threat.
You got to talk about it because it's a part of expressing your love language. Yep. You have to be able to tell your partner your way of communicating, what you like to do, what you don't like to do, and all those things are part of your love language.
It has definitely helped us to find that love language and to know where we lie in the relationship when it comes to the love language. And it's just having the conversation and not being afraid of it. Don't be afraid of it. Because again, we are not immune to it.
That is a fact. We're not immune to it. So, it's time to wrap this one up.
Time to wrap it up. Uncomfortable conversations. Again, why do we want to have those uncomfortable conversations? Because it helps you to identify your love language. It helps you have a better sex life.
Yes.
Sexual intimacy. That's important, right?
Right.
Helps you with raising the family and, of course, controlling those emotions and understanding external threats.
Now, if you want to know more about us, you can find us on Facebook at Claiborne Coaching. You can find us on Instagram under Claiborne Coaching. And you can also find us at our website, claibornecoaching.com. All right. I like that. That wraps it up for another episode of Love, Marriage, and Fantasy.
Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Claiborne Coaching. Download the podcast, Love, Marriage, and Fantasy, and look us up on Facebook at Claiborne Coaching.
All right, so we'll see you next time.